everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we are going to be reviewing the all-new 2019 Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. So as always, we're going to do a quick walk around on the Trackhawk, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. This Trackhawk is being provided to us by Larry H. Miller Jeep Chrysler here in Sandy, Utah. They actually have 3 of these in inventory right now. This white one, there's another white one with black rims, and then there is a black one in the showroom. So they have a ton of these to choose from if you are on the market for one. And then if you are stopping in for the first time, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed. Under the hood of the Trackhawk, we have the supercharged 6.2 liter V8 Hemi. That's good for 707 horsepower and then 645 pound-feet of torque. It's all routed through an 8-speed automatic transmission. And I'm sure none of you that would be buying this care about fuel economy, but it's going to be good for 11 around town and then 17 on the highway. Finishing things up front, we have the signature hood on all of the SRTs and then now on the Trackhawks as well. So you've got these little vents right there. Looks really, really neat actually. And then we have this new front fascia, so it lets a ton of airflow in to cool down that supercharged 6.2 liter V8. And then as always, you do get the LED headlights that are on a lot of the Grand Cherokee models just right there. And then you will note that you don't see any fog lights down below, and that's just because they've had to have extra air intakes and all that for cooling on that large motor. Around the side here, we have these 20-inch forged rims, and they kind of have like a polished finish to them. They look absolutely fantastic. You can see the yellow brake calipers in the front and in the rear. Those are Brembo brakes, and that kind of is one of the things that you can tell that this is a Trackhawk is the brake calipers are going to be yellow on these. And then the tire size is 295 millimeter, which is absolutely massive for an SUV. And then do note, it says Grand Cherokee Supercharged. That's another thing that signifies that this is a Trackhawk and you are driving something that's completely ridiculous. While we're out back here, here's the key fob for the Trackhawk. It says Trackhawk on the back. You only get red keys with this. They are not playing around at all. 707 horsepower all the time. We can see there's a couple functions. You got your lock and unlock, tailgate release, and then a remote start. The remote start, if you press that twice, first time will lock it, and then second time will start up that supercharged V8. And you hear it has a very nice growl to it. Now the other function is that tailgate release, so you press that twice and that will open up the tailgate here, and we actually come into the rear so we can see the storage. This is going to be identical to any Grand Cherokee, so little cargo cover, and then under here you get your full-sized spare, and then that's the button to lower down the tailgate. You get a little 12-volt couple speaker right there for the sound system, little extra storage pocket just down there, but I mean, this is all normal compared to any Grand Cherokee. There's nothing fancy back here. Now this is where the cool stuff begins. So let's first start off with these LED tail lamps. These are on all of the Grand Cherokees that have like the upgraded light package on them. And then you do get a Trackhawk logo in the back, and then the quad tip exhaust looks so cool. And then that's a bezel for the tow package. This one does have the tow package, so you pull that off and there's a receiver hitch under it, so you actually can tow with the Trackhawk. But I love this view out the rear, especially with the exhaust tips. I think it looks absolutely fantastic, and it has like kind of like an angry look to it with that as well. Now looking at the door panel here in the rear, we've got some carbon fiber trim, and then beautiful leather up top with some contrasted stitching, more of that. This particular one has a signature leather package, so it has all the nice leather upgrades, more of that leather. And you can see the little window control right here, and then a couple speakers for the sound system. This one has these beautiful red seat belts, which against the black and the white contrasts very nicely. And this signature leather is so much softer than the regular leather that comes with it. It's very comfortable. It has a very nice aesthetic to it as well. And then we can pull down the little cup holders right here. Do get heated seats for the rear passengers with a couple of vents, and then you get a little charging station with some USBs. Around to the front, one touch to lock the Trackhawk, and then to unlock it, you just have to put your hand on the back of the door handle. And then we can see the door panel for the front's gonna look pretty much identical to the rear. You can see this one has the Harman Kardon sound system. You do have your memory seat function right here. All of your controls for the windows and then mirror controls all pretty standard right there. And then more of that leather with the stitching, carbon fiber trim. And you notice like all the places they put speakers. In the seat up front, we can see the red seat belt again. It says Trackhawk on the seat, and you can see the overall design on the seat looks really neat. They are full power seats, and you look at the pedal layout just down below right there. Little gas cap, and then your regular light controls, and then it is power adjustment on the steering wheel for the Trackhawk. Now that we are in the Trackhawk, you can see all this carbon fiber here, which is neat. We can push the push start button, so put your foot on the brake. It'll start right up. Gauges will do a sweep per normal. And before I go over the steering wheel, would like to mention step and height in the Trackhawk. It's really easy to get in and out of this SUV. That being said, the steering wheel has all this leather, and then right here is kind of like grippier leather that you can see, so it's easier to hold on with your hands. And the steering wheel is pretty fat, so it's just like a nice feeling in your hands overall. And then they do put some nice leather in the middle with the Jeep logo. You can see you've got your cruise control over here, adaptive cruise control, and then these are for the center screen. We'll go over those momentarily. And then you've got your little voice commands here, and then we can see that it does have blind spot monitoring out there on the mirror. And then finally, there are some paddle shifters to shift the gears yourself on the back of the steering wheel, with some rocker panels to change the radio stations as well. Now looking at the center cluster here, we can see the speedometer, which goes up to 200 miles an hour. Crazy to see that in an SUV. We got the tachometer front and center with a little speedo, fuel gauge and temperature gauge on the right side, and then you can see this little center screen that I can scroll through a bunch of different menus for you on this. Basically gives you any bit of information that you could ever want to or need to know on the vehicle that you're driving. Now we've got this center screen right here. This is the 8.4-inch touchscreen. Really good unit. It's super responsive, so you can see everything happens pretty much instantaneously with this touchscreen right here. It does have drag and drop function. You see the Trackhawk will come with heated and ventilated seats. Let's go up the backup camera while we're on the touchscreen, so you can see that turns with the steering wheel on the backup camera with that function. And then this is where you can do your calling, texting, Bluetooth, everything. It has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And then one thing that I do want to go over is the performance pages. So we're going to wait for those to load up. So now that the performance pages are loaded up, you can see it gives you a bunch of different gauges. So you can have your home screen where you can put what gauges you want, but I'm just going to scroll through all the different menus so you can kind of see the different things that this actually allows you to see. My favorite is the engine because it gives real-time horsepower and torque. So if you very lightly tap the throttle, you can see that those will go up based on that, and then you even have like a little dyno graph, which is neat as well. Just down below we have our analog climate controls and radio controls, pretty standard. It is a dual zone climate, and then we've got some other buttons. So eco mode, which I don't know why you'd ever use that in Trackhawk. Stability control, that's your lane departure assist, parking sensors, and then it does have parallel and perpendicular parking assist as well. And then we've got this little center area just down below with a couple charging stations in there. We can cover that up. This is your shifter for that 8-speed automatic transmission. Do note that there is a dual shift mode if you want to shift the gears yourself, and that could be done via these paddles or actually via the shifter, whatever you prefer. Now this is the fun part down here. This is your drive mode selection. You can see there's a bunch of different drive modes you can switch between. You do get launch control on this Trackhawk model as well, so you can see that I can basically scroll between the different modes, and it'll pop up here on that screen basically when I'm going through the different modes. It's cool that when you go into track, it shows you a little track under the Jeep, but you can see the little different pictures that it shows when you go through different modes. That's snow mode, and then that is your tow mode. And then also if you press this button, this will pop up here on the center screen with the different drive modes. So you do have a valet mode, and then you see you can set up the different drive modes. So you can customize right here the drive modes, everything that happens in those specific drive modes, which is really neat. It's super configurable with this, and then you can also customize the RPMs, RPMs on the launch control, I should say, shift light, and then you can have a race cooldown, which is assuming that you're going to take this on a track. On to storage, we've got those center console, nice leather, and then we can see we can open up there, you get some storage, and then if you put it down and then open it fully up, we can see more storage space, and then it is lined with felt. There is a little 12 volt in there to charge your phone. And then let's go over to the glove box. So we can see that, again, lined with felt, pretty standard sized glove box, nothing crazy there, but it is nice that it's kind of like soft touch on the outside, and then you've got cool carbon fiber trim above it with more leather everywhere around it. You can get a full panoramic sunroof here in the Trackhawk. You can see there's a bunch of controls here for the sunroof right there, and then universal garage door openers, and then some light controls, and that's for the tailgate. Pretty standard, you know, with any Jeep that has that. And then you get little sunglass holders, so nothing crazy up here. But I will note with the signature leather package, you do get this suede headliner, and especially here, you can feel it super, super soft on the visors. Has a really nice feel and look to it. Wrapping things up on the interior, it's very, very well put together. It feels like a really premium interior with all the materials. So the carbon fiber accents, for example, and then all the leather stitching. It feels up to par with a lot of the luxury brands that this will compete against, since this is in such a high price point. That all being said though, let's take the 2019 Trackhawk out to see how it drives. Well, this is finally happening. We have finally gotten the channel up to the point where I can now review somewhat cool cars. Just kidding, these Trackhawks are so sweet. I've honestly thought about getting one, but I just love trucks too much. So setting off initially in Trackhawk, let's first talk about visibility with this. And visibility over the hood, it's actually really easy to see over everything. Over both shoulders, really good. Blind spot monitoring is going to help with that. And then looking actually over, there's not a whole lot in terms of blind spots. That window back there helps out a ton. And so just like every other Grand Cherokee, it's really easy to see out of the Trackhawk. In terms of ride quality and road noise, this is definitely a little bit rougher than a standard Grand Cherokee. And that tightened suspension is going to help this corner a lot quicker and all of that, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it actually still rides pretty smooth. You know, it's hard to tell that this has 700 horsepower and it's like a hardcore performance SUV. It's still like a really comfortable vehicle to be in. And there's not a whole lot of road noise that comes through, but with those lower profile tires and the 20-inch rims, there is a little bit more than what you get in a normal Grand Cherokee. Steering on it's super light, and I mean, it just goes right where you want to put it. Oh geez, I'm not even getting on this at all. It's just so much power, it's crazy. But yeah, steering is super light. It's super easy to control. This being a brand new vehicle, I am not going to hoon it or anything like that. I'm going to get a mild acceleration just so that I can kind of give you an idea of how much power this has. But I mean, 700 horsepower is 700 horsepower, guys. It's going to be fast. 0 to 60, they always say like 3.5 seconds. So yeah, that's all you need to know. Yeah, it's quick. I mean, it is very quick. So like, you can hear the supercharger whine, and I mean, it just gets up and goes. I barely, so like, I maybe got that up to like 4,000 RPMs. Like I said, I wasn't gonna go full throttle or anything like that. It's a ton of power. It's a crazy feeling. So to sum things up on the 2019 Trackhawk, if you're in the market for a performance SUV, most likely you're going to be comparing this against Mercedes and BMW and Audi and all that. Here's what I have to say. This vehicle has so much more performance than those other SUVs for so much less money. That's what everyone said. And the interior quality in this is actually really nice. And it's not like Jeep has like a bad brand name. Like you don't feel like silly for driving around a Jeep. It's still, Jeeps are actually really neat. And so if you're on the market for like a performance SUV, which a lot of people nowadays are, because SUVs and trucks are all the rage right now, the Trackhawk is worth giving a look into. It's just, I mean, it's mental how cool this thing is. This is a crazy SUV. I can't even believe that they make this. And there we have it, everyone, the 2019 Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. Thank you so much for watching, and again, if you're stopping for the first time, I'd really appreciate if you would subscribe, comment down below what you thought, and then again, a big shout out and thank you to Larry H. Miller Jeep Chrysler here in Sandy for providing us with the vehicle. If you're on the market for a new Jeep, check these guys out, and I will see all of you in that next video.